this is Dominic, wedding DJ.
And this is Serena, wedding planner.
And together we are the
Wedding Duo.
We are here to talk all things weddings.
Planning a wedding can be stressful, but we are here to help.
So before you say, that's it, we're going to Vegas, don't go to Vegas.
Let's have some fun.
Join us as we answer your wedding questions and help navigate planning one of the biggest days of your life with
The Wedding Duo.
Welcome, everyone. We are back as the Wedding Duo podcast, aren't we?
We are back for episode 6. Last episode we just touched on how to choose your wedding music. And today we're going to go in depth into a topic that everyone loves to talk about, which is live musicians at your event. And we have a special guest.
Well, I'm a DJ, so I don't like live musicians, but no, I'm just kidding. Of course we do. Yeah, we're not really the duo because there's a third member of this podcast today. Trevor Martin, welcome.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
We're going to cue the fake applause. Yay. Love you, Trevor. Love you. Trevor is a singer-songwriter out of Nashville. Do they do music there? I've heard of Nashville.
We have a few people on the side of the streets just busking for some songs, playing for some money. Yeah.
I heard there was an Opry that was old, but it's grand. I heard it was grand and old.
You're right. You were right on the money with that. It is both grand and old and operied.
Is that like as a Nashville musician, is that like the tip of the mountain, or is that kind of dated now?
No, I mean, I think a lot of my friends have started to play it over the last couple of years, and that's still like one of those. It's like, oh my gosh, I played the Opry. For me, I had some friends that just played Bridgestone, and that for me, that's where I go to see all my shows.
Okay,
I saw John Mayer there a couple weeks ago, and I was like, all right, my friends just played Bridgestone, so I think that's the big one for me. But the Opry's still sacred ground.
Well, down here, it's kind of like Austin City Limits, the ACL, as they call it. It's kind of one of those, like, you got to check the block. It's like a bucket list thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Musician. But for country, I could see that would still be a thing.
Absolutely.
So beyond being a singer-songwriter artist for country music, Trevor also plays live for weddings. And we want to share with our audience what that's like. Maybe some things that they can consider for their wedding if they're wanting to have live musicians play. So our first question, before we get into all that, is how did you get started with your music and then playing for weddings?
Yeah, so I started singing from a very, very young age. Started at church,
I knew it. Who doesn't start at church, right?
Exactly. That's the thing. We started at church, and then when I was 8 years old, I played with a large orchestra back home in my hometown, Bowling Green, Kentucky. It was a show called Motown Madness, and I sang "I Want You Back" by the Jackson 5.
Very nice.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so they had the little pudgy boy come out and sing the Michael Jackson 5 song. But the crowd went wild, and that's kind of where I started in music. And I was like, all right, I really, really love this. Standing ovation. Yeah. So that's just a feel good song. But yeah, for weddings, I went to Belmont University here in Nashville, started there in 2015. And it was kind of I guess it just started as a way for me to kind of get my name out there. I played at a local seafood restaurant, kind of my first few years of college, and people heard me like, oh, he's a good singer. Let's have him at our wedding shower, possibly our wedding reception. And that's kind of, I just had cards laying out, and people would come by and ask me to play for their wedding. And for me, it was kind of just an early job. Way to kind of pay rent here in Nashville. And then it kind of turned into ceremonies, which was always, and it still is, just a huge honor when someone says, hey, will you play my wedding? Will you be the voice I hear when I am walking down the aisle?
Yes.
That dream that I've always had, will you be that voice there? So, that's just been something that's been really cool. So just really started from the hometown and then kind of got into the Nashville scene and started doing it there too. So it was a lot of moving parts to get there.
So I know you have some original stuff, but you obviously do a lot of covers. I mean, I don't know if people are coming down the aisle to "I Want You Back" by the Jackson 5, but that's in your repertoire, as we've established.
It is.
Do they hire you and you say like it's got to be country, or do you have a repertoire that is vast?
Oh, no. I try to be very, very open-minded. That's one thing about me too. I mean, I'm not super, super country. It's more pop country, Dan and Shay type of thing. So I think the perfect song is the perfect song for that person. You know, there's
Right.
not
You say
a
it all the time.
Yeah.
there's not a perfect song out there. What like I mean, I'm not engaged or anything, but when me and my girlfriend talk, we're like, "Oh, you know what song we love is Fireflies by Owl City." And that's not not many people are choosing that one, but
That's a
that's
great
just,
song, though. My kids,
yeah,
we watched that video 1,000 times because
Yes,
they love it. Because
they
the video
do.
has the little toys also, but it's a catchy little ditty for sure.
right. It's great. And it was it came out when I was in middle school, so it just kind of has that young love. It reminds us of that young love stuff. So but yeah, I try to be all over the board. I love Ed Sheeran. I think he's great. He's got some great songs out there.
Wedding appropriate songs.
Of course, Russell Dickerson. Have met him a few times, and he's a great guy, and he also went to Belmont. But yeah, there's just so many great genres of music, and just so many great songs in all genres. So I'm very open to playing anything.
Well, you mentioned Dan and Shay is a similar sound that you have, and we just did a TikTok on From the Ground Up, coming down the aisle from that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
The lyrics are so ideal and just match up with it, because we do a lot of TikToks. Obviously, that's where we got our traction and took off to where we are today. And I'm always looking at the lyrics. I'm always saying like, "Ooh, this is." Somebody will ask me, "Hey, can you do this song?" And I'll listen to it, and a lot of times I'm like, if I'm gonna like put it out there as a, "Hey, here's a potential great song for you to go down the aisle," I want it to really like hit the nail on the head. I don't want to be like, because every song has a few lyrics.
Sure.
I did I know it's not Garth Brooks, but Adele covered it, and "To Make You Feel My Love," right? But it came on my radar when Garth did it for the movie with Sandra Bullock and Harry Connick. What was it? What was?
No.
It's a Bob Dylan song originally. I don't know.
It is. Yeah, and
There you go.
and Billy Joel recorded
Billy
it.
Joel has a beautiful version.
Yeah, so that's nice that you knew it was Bob Dylan. That's good. But there's one line in there where it says, "I know you haven't made your mind up yet," and everybody like jumped on it. I go, okay. I mean, it's a love song. It's a beautiful. Can we just overlook that one like line? But it's true. People really get in the weeds, and they talk about Speechless. But I'm like, yeah, Speechless is good, but that's more like a "you're already together" kind of thing. But From the Ground Up just kind of goes here from the beginning to where we are, and here we are at the wedding day. And to have somebody like play it live, I mean, I would say I can play anything as a DJ, but
sure,
if you have a talented musician up there, it's just a whole nother bit of like chef's kiss, beautiful way to do it.
Yeah, I love From the Ground Up actually for seating of the parents and grandparents, because the initial verse of that song is "Grandma and Grandpa painted a picture." So you're already pulling in Grandma and Grandpa. 65 years in one little house. So you see the grandparents coming in, or the parents and sitting down. So I've used it for that occasion, because I usually do a lot of pre-ceremony music, just kind of how my ceremony timeline looks. I'll do a lot of probably anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes of pre-ceremony music, which is just kind of generic love songs, Crazy Love, Van Morrison.
Also a great favorite of mine.
Yeah, that might be one of my favorite songs of all time.
Okay,
there
that's
you
a good
go.
one. That's right up there.
Thinking Out Loud is usually in there.
Sure.
And then seating of the grandparents and parents. And then we have the processional with the
wedding party,
the bridesmaids, the wedding party. Yes, they all come in, and then obviously Here Comes the Bride. And then usually recessional, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a good question for you. Do you get requests for the traditional "Here Comes the Bride" song ever? Have you ever done that? I'm just curious, because people have asked us before, like, "Oh, you have to come into Here Comes the Bride," and we're like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I never have. I think it's kind of
old school?
I've been a part of weddings that have done it before,
Okay.
but it's usually when I'm playing, just when I'm one of the musicians at the wedding. So I've been the only musician at weddings before, which typically I kind of prefer just because I know exactly what I'm doing. There's no moving parts except for me.
Right.
But I've also been a part of some Catholic weddings,
Sure.
or some more traditional weddings where they have, a large organ and they want to use that. And that's when they'll do Here Comes the Bride, Jesu, Joys of Man Desiring, those types of things.
Mhm.
Right. They're a little more limited, I think, on the songs they can play and know how to play in the
Sure.
church.
Or they just
Sure.
feel like they're obligated to play.
Right.
So
Right.
sometimes as a DJ, just this past weekend, we had one, they had a friend playing guitar and he played the processional music. He wasn't singing. He was just playing. He was talented. The groom was a PE teacher and this was his music teacher buddy. So he obviously was good. But no audio. He plugged into my board. So whenever there's a friend of the family that's doing it, because it's different. If they hire somebody who does this, like yourself,
Yes.
usually you bring an amp, your cord, your power, your extension cable, everything you need to basically be self-sufficient, right? Usually.
Right.
Whereas if they go, hey, my friend wants to play my entrance, I'm like, okay, just bring your guitar and your cable. And I have extra stuff. I don't have a guitar, but I have extra cables. But I want them to bring their cable and just plug them into one of my channels, and I can be their roadie. Have you been down that road, or you usually bring your own stuff?
I usually do bring my own stuff, and it's a little harder for destination weddings. I just played a wedding this last weekend in Seaside, Florida, 38, beautiful wedding. But I drove. Now, if I would have flown, I would have either had to rent equipment, which is money that the party will probably have to do, or I'll have to work with the DJ and bring a cord, or rely on them to have all of those things. So typically, if I'm playing a local thing that I can drive, I'll have my equipment, and it just feels like home for me to be able to do that.
You are preaching to the choir. If we can bring it back around to choir days, because that's the same thing. Because when I travel, like we just booked one in Seattle, and I'm not driving to Seattle from Texas. I'm sorry. That's like
That's a big
I've
ask.
made that drive.
That's hard. That'd be tough.
But I do. I bring my board, my mics, and my computer, and my skill set, my knowledge, my experience. But I got to rent speakers, and I'm like, those aren't, they don't fit in the overhead compartment, right? So I'm not bringing my speakers and my facade. I got to figure out something. I don't want it to look. Part of it is just appearances. I don't want to look like a train wreck up there with cords and everything else going everywhere. But it's like, I know I have nice equipment, and I baby it. I take care of it. I put everything back where it was. So it makes me nervous when I rent it.
So, Trevor, you have an amazing song that we just featured on one of our TikToks called Wife You Up. Tell us a little bit about that song and the inspiration for it, first of all. And then second of all, some of your new music that you've just released as well.
Well, our fans, our followers were like, ooh, I like it. I think I found my first dance. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
Trevor.
Yes. Well, Wife You Up is one that I actually released about a year ago. And it's one that I wrote with a buddy of mine. His name's Spencer Crandall, who has a very large following on TikTok and has a pretty viral song called My Person. But we were hanging out at his place, and we're supposed to have a third right with us that morning, and he didn't show. So Spencer and I were just kind of hanging out, and we're like, hey, let's just chat. Started chatting about songwriting. We looked at our idea list, and we both had the idea, wife her up, wife you up type of thing. So we're like, dude, we got to write this. I was like, yeah, we both got the same one. So we just sat down, and nothing really in our lives. Neither one of us are engaged. Neither one of us are married or anything like that. I was in a relationship and still am. And so was just kind of writing it to write a cool song. And
I know you got pressure from your girlfriend though. Oh, who you wifing up then? Trevor,
yeah,
what's
right.
with the wife up?
And girlfriend's family, of course, what's
That's
going on
time
here?
Yeah.
And friends of mine, of course. But yeah, so we sat down, we wrote it, and it was really cool. I loved how it turned out. And I remember Spencer and I walking away just saying, Dan and Shay would kill to have that one.
Yeah,
buddy,
there you
too
go.
bad.
You know,
Oh my gosh. Well, it sounds like to me when I first heard it, like a first dance song, right? So
Yeah.
that was kind of where I categorized it. Of course, there's no right or wrong in what music you choose, but definitely go check out that TikTok. It's on our page. Or you can go to Trevor's pages and check that song out. But you have another song.
Wait, I was gonna say something.
Oh.
I thought "Wife You Up" was a keeper.
Oh, wow. Nice transition there.
Yeah. So why is that? Why would you think Wife You Up is a keeper?
Well, Trevor has another song called "Keeper."
Yeah. So
That's
tell us
right.
about that song. That's a newer song that you have, right?
Yeah, so Keeper just came out a couple weeks ago, and it's probably my favorite song that I've ever written.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, just from a melody standpoint and just kind of how it flows when I sing it, I think is one of the things that I just really enjoy singing that song to people. But I think I always try when I'm writing to say things that I think girls would want to hear. And of course, I'm a guy, so I'm not sure, but I always test them out with my girlfriend. But, you know, as a guy, I would want to be told, man, you're a keeper. Like if my girlfriend was like, you're a keeper. Like, yeah, I would want to be told that. And like I'm girls, I'm sure would want to be told, hey, I'm gonna keep you safe, keep you close, keep you laughing when you need a joke, keep you wishing on the stars, keep you wrapped up in my arms, keep you young even when we're gray, keep a smile on your face. There's no way in the world I'd ever leave you because you're a keeper. You know, like that's the chorus of the song. And you know, I just try to really be as real as I can in those lyrics and say things that I really believe people would want to hear.
Mhm.
And I'm really excited about this one. I hope that people will latch onto it. And I played it at a wedding shower. I was just supposed to be kind of background music at a wedding shower, and the bride loved it. And she was like, she went to her mom and said that he has to play this for our first dance at our wedding. And you know, they hired me to play their wedding in a couple weeks. So
Nice.
that's really cool. And
Obviously,
it's such an honor.
It was good enough for her to be like, "Stop! What are you playing?
Stop.
What is
What
that
is
song?"
that? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I know as my wife and you were talking on the phone and setting this thing up here, you sang it to her, and I was like, okay, who's this dude serenading my wife, setting up this thing? But I remember she was like, "That's really good. We got to set it."
I was very
like,
excited. It's really
Yeah.
trying to bow up. I'm trying to look swole. Trying to look swole.
he's not. He's the
singing
last
you
person
singing
who
my
would.
wife? You singing?
Oh my
No.
gosh, you're
Dude,
ridiculous.
hey, I've sang to a lot of people's wives.
Yeah.
over the
That's
last-
true. That's true.
You make a
a lot
living out of singing to
I
people's
make
wives.
a living out of singing to people's wives.
I just press play. I don't really.
right.
I can't take any credit for the lyrics that come out of my speakers, but
So if someone is interested in having a live musician at their wedding or their event, what is a good resource for them to find someone locally that maybe you've used, or if they're interested in finding somebody?
Yeah. So where I get a lot of my weddings for people that I don't know at all is a website called Gig Salad. GIGSALAD. Gig Salad. Kind of crazy. But there's a lot of things on there that you can look up. If you want a full band, there's full band options. If you want a singing guitarist like myself or a one-man band, then you can look that up. If you want to,
because we're on Gig Salad as well.
Gig Salad as well. Nice.
Yeah.
If you want a DJ, yeah. If you want even like just someone to serve your drinks, if you want a bartender for your gig or for your wedding, you can look it up on Gig Salad. Wedding singer is on there as well, but you kind of go in there, you fill out your date, your time, what you're looking for, and sometimes people put specific songs on there that they're looking for me to sing. It could be a wedding shower, could just be a reception, could be the whole ceremony. But that's where I find a lot of things, and it's not just Nashville based; it's all over the country. So just look it up and look in your area and see if there's someone in that radius. It's great in Nashville. I'm not sure how many gigs that you guys get in Texas, but or weddings that you get in Texas from Gig Salad, but I know it's really been awesome to meet a lot of great people here in Nashville.
For us, it's been usually when they're looking for an MC or a voice of God, which is just the guy in the background, like, ladies and gentlemen, our next presenter coming to the stage, like that voice you hear at the Oscars, as opposed to actually see the person on stage. That's kind of something that I do that is separate. So that's kind of how we use Gig Salad. But definitely a resource. It's good for those of you out there in the world looking for, how do I find a live musician?
Or anything, really. I mean, if you have a specific instrument in mind too, like you want a harpist or a pianist or something like that, it is definitely a great resource for that. I was going to ask another question too. Do you ever write like personalized music for weddings, or do you get requests for like songs? How does that come up?
Lyrics, like the personal lyrics.
Yeah. So crazy enough, I'm writing for a personalized songwriting company that has kind of exploded over the last really 2 years. It's called Songfinch, SONGFINCH.com. And it is exactly what you just mentioned. It is writing personalized songs for any occasion. Can be a wedding, can be a proposal, can be an anniversary, a birthday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, any of those types of occasions. But I've done about 800 songs over the last 17 months now. And
that seems like a lot.
It does seem like a lot.
It is a lot. It's a lot, but it's been a really great way to connect with people. And these are all songs by some really talented artists. Check out the website; they're on there. And if you're interested and are listening to the podcast, you can ask for me. You can say, "Hey, I want Trevor Martin to do our song," and they'll put that in for me. Or you can find someone who is more exactly what you love to listen to. But I play guitar. I have acoustic guitar on all of mine with electric guitar, drums, piano, and if you want your name in the song, you can say, I want Susie's name in there and that we met at a Waffle House. You can put that in there. And if you want the line that I have loved her since the second I met her, we can put that, and the song can be called Since I Met You. And
that's fantastic.
So do you have like rights to it afterwards, or is it kind of you write it and give it away, and how does the Songfinch keep it? How does that part work, out of curiosity?
Yeah, Songfinch is actually really great to their artists too, which is, I think, a really good thing from the customer standpoint. You want the person who's really putting a lot of time and energy into writing your song. You want the artist to be compensated fairly and treated right. So I will own all of the copyright to that, which is great. So if there's a song that I really love, then I could take that and possibly even put it out for my own artist project.
So look out for his next hit, Waffle House Love, coming to you soon.
Waffle House Love.
Yeah, coming to you soon. When Susie met Billy Bob at the Waffle House.
Yes. Yeah.
Lyrics and song written by Trevor Martin.
Yeah, but just to kind of let you know how much those are, they are $199 for the customer. And so just go check it out. I mean, it's kind of taken the place lately of like an anniversary card, which has been cool. I mean, flowers and a card have been going on for as long as we've known. And now it's like this little, hey, let's get a song. Let's get a personal song for us. And The Weeknd invested a pretty large sum about a year ago, and since then the company's taken off. So I'm really excited about it. I'm proud to be a part of it, and I think it's a really cool thing. If you want something specialized at your wedding, check it out.
He can't even feel his face. I mean, what is?
I know.
He wrote it. His song. Just saying.
That's right.
Dork.
So I wanted to ask you something real quick. So and see, this has been my experience with live musicians in general, whether it's like she said, a pianist, a single violinist, a quartet, a guitarist. Usually if you hire somebody that's not like a friend of the family, it's usually up to 2 hours. And what I've seen, especially if it's like a quartet, for example, they're not doing dance music generally. They usually do the prelude music, like you're talking about, the music as people are arriving to the ceremony, which is generally about a half hour. The ceremony itself, even though they're only playing the processional and the recessional sometimes, is usually another half hour. And then immediately after that half hour and the ceremony, which is a half hour, cocktail hour is usually right after that. And sometimes they'll relocate, or if it's in the same spot, they can just continue to play from there, because the string quartet takes a minute to uproot and move.
Yes.
As anybody, if they have their amp or their equipment.
Mhm.
But sometimes they move and then they play during cocktail hour. And there's your usual 2 hour window. And like I said, some people say, we just want you for the ceremony, and the DJ is picking it up for cocktail hour. But I'm like, you may still be paying for that time, whether you use it or not.
Mhm.
Has that kind of been your experience through weddings?
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of used all over the map. And I love to do it all. Sorry, what are you asking there?
Yeah. So when you get hired, is it generally, do you do the
Like by
ceremony
the
music
hour?
and cocktail hour, or you sometimes say you for the whole night, you do dinner music and then you do dancing as well? Because I know there are bands that do. Sometimes the bands will get hired for the back end. They do the dinner or dancing part, but the band is not doing the ceremony. If you have like a 5-piece band with a drummer and a sax,
Not
a
usually.
horn section, they're not doing the ceremony generally. They're going to be at the end of the night. But if you get hired for the ceremony, do you usually have like, you get me for up to 2 hours, or I'm only doing the ceremony, or is it different for everybody?
Yes. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So it used to be where I would do like hourly rate, where I was like, hey, you get me for the 2 hours or something like that. Now it's kind of changed to like a nightly basis, because there's been times that I'll, just do a ceremony, or I'll just do, hey, we just want you for the pre-ceremony music.
Mhm.
All right, well, that's 30 minutes on my Saturday night, that I've got to mark off my entire Saturday night to come play 30 minutes of pre-ceremony music, which I'm grateful to do. But I kind of view it as like, hey, you've got me for the night. So whatever you want me to do, I can do this, 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 and this. And I do have the capabilities to turn the amp up a little bit and, play some Friends in Low Places, some Wagon Wheel, Sweet Home Alabama. So I can go from, the nice Oh Come to the Altar for the pre-ceremony music all the way to Sweet Home Alabama at 10 o'clock at night.
That's fantastic.
That really is.
Because the string quartet, like I said, their version of Dixieland Delight may not be danceable. I don't know,
Right. Well, maybe they could do a mean version of Devil Went Down to Georgia or something like
You
that.
never know. That's true.
Yay, that's a
That's
good
the
one.
question every violinist I've ever known. Like, if somebody else asked me about Devil Went Down to Georgia, yes, I can play it. Yes.
So ultimately, since we're kind of talking about packages and timing, what do you, if you can give our listeners like a range, or what should they expect to maybe spend if they're looking for live musicians? I know just like for DJs and anybody in the wedding industry, there's a varying levels of experience and pricing, but what could they maybe expect to spend?
Sure. So I started out, and it really depends on who you're getting a lot of times, but just kind of a ballpark estimation. I started out doing about 1,000 for a wedding, for pretty much all in. But as demand has gone higher, and as the success of, say, Wife You Up and Keeper has gone up as well, and I've been asked to do more and more weddings, I usually start out at about 2,000, just because I know there's probably some other people that might call on those days, but there's a lot of people who charge 5,000 to 10,000,
Right.
and to me, that's really a lot of money. And not to discount anybody that's out there, but that really just does feel like a lot for a few hours. Now I know photographs can be anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000, but you also got to think about they have to do a lot of editing on the back end. Like
Right.
they have
Every vendor's got their own cross
Yeah.
the bear. The other thing is, if they get a band, sometimes you're paying for, like, you're a single artist, right?
I am.
Band, they got a lot more equipment. Now there's 5 guys, maybe you got to pay for all them.
Right.
To your point, it's their Saturday night. Like, for when I travel, it's that wedding, but I got to get there and get back. So I usually do more than one wedding in a weekend, but I can only do one if I'm going out of state. So,
Right.
so there's other things that come in that maybe some people don't wrap their head around all the way, but yeah.
Sure.
But
Do
if you
you-
want Garth, I'm guessing he's more than 2,000, right?
He's a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
I've
Do
heard
you
Mariah,
think
and Mariah's more than that. Sorry, you were going to say
it's
something.
okay? Do you think that it makes a difference? Because I'm sure it does. You have songs that are out released on Spotify, Apple Music. That pricing is going to be different for an artist that they can have you playing your own songs than somebody who maybe just does weddings locally.
They just
Don't you think?
cover stuff, I
Yeah.
would think.
Sure, yeah, and it's really an honor when people do ask for wife you up, or they do ask for keeper or something like that, you know. And that's, you know, for me, like one of my favorite songs is Nobody by Dylan Scott. I don't know if you've used that one for any weddings or not, but like if I were to have Dylan Scott at my wedding, yeah, I would expect him, if he came to play my wedding, I would expect to pay a lot more because he is the singer and writer of that song. But if I just had someone else come and cover that one, then I wouldn't expect to pay near as much as if the main artist came. But yeah, I think it does kind of factor into the cost. You know, I definitely don't want to discount any solo artists that are out there that are making a good living doing that don't have maybe like a song that's specifically for weddings or a love song, because I'm sure they're very talented and are justified. And Dominic's right in the fact that, you know, we have a lot of gear. Sometimes people have spent more on quality gear to load in and load out, and that is an investment on the artist's part, on the singer's part. So yeah, I usually am starting out around 2,000 right now, and I think that's not too terribly unfair to ask. And nobody has. There's been a few people that have been like, "Nah, man, I just can't do that," and that's fine. I mean, I might not be the best fit to come for that wedding. You know, maybe you're not looking for the exact same thing that I'm thinking. If that's just really too far out of the price range or something like that. But I do want to work with as many people as I can because it is a beautiful thing and it's such an honor when someone asks me to be a part of their special day.
Yeah, because it comes up a lot where, I mean, I know there are days I'm competing with an uncle with an iPod, right? Or because weddings are expensive.
Yes.
They are.
But people have their thing. Like I really want a live musician for the
Yeah.
service. Really, we want to dance. I want to invest in the DJ. Some people are foodies. Some people they just want to sit around and drink. So they want to go heavy on the bar or the flowers or whatever your thing is. And that's one thing we always tell our couples is you'll see this thing saying like, here's where each percentage of your budget should be going towards. You're like, that is nonsense because everybody's different.
Mhm.
Everybody has a thing or a vision that they envision their wedding going as. And yeah, if you want a live musician, then, you know, find some, you know, feed your guests peanut butter and jelly and put that money towards I mean, not like cheap peanut butter, like I'm talking high end peanut butter.
Really good PB&J.
Really good
with
bread.
chunks of fruit in the jelly. I'm not talking like
Homemade
cheap
jelly.
Oh, yeah. See?
Homemade peanut butter.
Gonna get all Joey on us just eating the jam out of the jar.
Yeah.
Friends
Wow.
reference. I threw it a friends. I
Yeah, of
see
course
every
you did.
episode. I swear I get something in there. But anyway, that's what I would say. Like people are gonna. It's expensive, but it's a big day. It's a core memory they're making. They're gonna talk about this day forever, and
Right.
they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, I wish we'd have had Trevor because we taught him he was just too much money." And
Yeah.
someday somebody's gonna say,
Absolutely.
"Do you know Wife You Up?" And you were like, "Do I know it? Yeah, that's my song." I wish
Yeah.
that upon you. I wish that moment upon you. Trevor.
Absolutely. So
I hope so.
if someone wants to listen to those songs that we referenced that you have written, or find you out there in the world, where can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got 8 releases that have been out in the world. You can find those on Spotify, Apple Music. Just look up Trevor Martin. It's on Amazon, wherever you get your favorite songs. Check them out. You can also find me on Instagram at Trevor Martin Music. You can find me on TikTok at Trevor Martin Music. You can find me on Facebook, Trevor Martin Music. And my website is trevormartinmusic.com.
Woohoo!
Very good.
So,
Very
yeah.
consistent. I like that.
Yes.
I wanted to ask too. This is always something I enjoy asking artists. Like, who was your inspiration? Who was your idol? Who were you coming up like? Oh man, if I had one concert I could see on my bucket list. You may have seen him. I don't know, or her.
Absolutely. John Mayer is
Really?
my.
And you just saw him, right?
I did. I just saw him 3 Wednesdays ago now. And yeah, I love John Mayer.
He's very talented, that's for sure.
Extremely talented. He will always be my number one. And it was a big reason that I picked up a guitar and started playing. So love him for sure. Some of the other ones, Dan and Shay, I really enjoy what they're doing, what they consistently put out. And it has gotten a little bit more poppy, but I love pop music too. And I think that's good stuff. I mean, you can't go wrong with Speechless either. That's just such a
it's a fantastic song. Comes
such a
up all the
great
time.
song.
Do you roll out on the carpet? Do you play on a little carpet like John does now? I call him John.
Oh, you guys are first name basis?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
back. I'll text him.
No,
Trevor
I should do that. I should get a carpet.
as an homage, as a shout out to you.
Yes.
His Continuum album, that is that is front to back. Like that's the one that got me, like, finally.
It's incredible.
And one of the things at Michael Jackson's funeral, he came out and played Human Nature on his electric guitar. I don't know if you saw it. Look it up if you haven't seen it.
Yes.
It is powerful and amazing. I love that song anyway. And I'm just like, is he going to sing? And he just kept going with the guitar. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, I'm a Michael Jackson fan too, but I was like, okay, John. Okay. That took him to another little
Raise the bar.
category.
Yes, I had forgotten about that. But yeah, that was a beautiful homage to Michael, and John just did a fantastic job with that.
I was really impressed. I was really impressed.
Yeah.
You know, Michael Jackson's funeral, you had talent. Everybody was performing.
To
And that's
choose
the one I remember was John Mayer's not acoustic, but lyricless version of Human Nature on his guitar. And I'm like, good Lord. So anyway.
Yeah, so good.
Good choice. Good choice of an artist.
So what do we like to say? First of all, we're going to say thank you to Trevor for joining us on this episode.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's been
this was fun.
fantastic. I hope you all will go check him out, follow him on Instagram, TikTok, go download his songs on Spotify, Apple Music.
Hire him for your wedding.
Hire him for your wedding. Yeah, all of it.
What if we ever did a wedding together? Ooh,
That would be a lot of fun.
It would be a lot of fun.
I will say this, I just started doing some more in this last year, have been doing more destination weddings. So if anyone's listening and checks out Wife You Up or Keeper or any of my other songs and is like, hey, I really want this guy, don't hesitate to hit me up. I think that's one thing too. I do want to throw this out there. Don't hesitate to reach out to some of these artists, because I think they'll be a little more open than you thought. The wedding that I played at this last weekend, a guy named Adam Doliak was who has a song called Famous, and another was, they just hit him up and he's like, yeah, I'll come play at your wedding. And you know, that's a memory that they'll remember forever. I've had some other friends that have done that too. So don't be scared. You can hit me up if you are interested, and it might not work out, and that's okay, but at least you tried, and you know, maybe it will happen. So
stranger things have happened.
That's true.
Stranger things have happened.
So we always like to wish our listeners happy wedding planning, and I'll let you end with our key.
Here it is. It is
Same.
a very personal day, like we were just talking about. Don't let anybody talk you into something you don't want to do, or talk you out of something you have your heart set on. Don't listen to your crazy cousin. Whatever she did, that doesn't matter. It's your day. Do you, people.
So thank you so much for joining us, Trevor, and everyone who's out there. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram. You know where to find us. But we will see you next time for episode 7.
Hey, so thanks for listening to our podcast. If you found any of this information helpful and you know someone who may be engaged or is a maid of honor, maybe you could tell them and share it with a friend.
Absolutely. So screenshot this episode, share it on Instagram, on Facebook, and tag the wedding duo. We promise to share the love back. Also, if you are interested in more resources or the show notes, you can go to theweddingduo.co. We have one-on-one virtual sessions, a shop, all sorts of fun stuff. Check it out.